Hey, friends, welcome back to yet another exciting episode of the Redzone Round Up. A little special by Mayhem Media. This is CranderQ, a.k.a. my real name from Friends of the Squared Circle, teaming up with Mayhem Media to bring you all 32 NFL teams, Joe. So we're going to jump into it today. You already saw the graphic, folks, about how we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers. But before that, I guess we'll do this first so I don't forget. Mayhem Media wants to know what's your favorite team. Now, if you are a fan of the Ravens like me, sorry, that slot's taken. Our goal is to hit all 32 teams here. But today we are talking about the Green Bay Packers. Joe, why do you love the Green Bay Packers?
I guess it's just I'm from Wisconsin for one, and I just like I tell everybody I like good football. They've been good basically my entire life.
Yeah,
I was born
yes, they have
towards the end of the not so good era, and they've been awesome. So, a team that's constantly successful, constantly in the mix, can't fault them for that.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned, as you just said, blah, 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 that your team has been successful your whole life. You had Brett Favre. You had Aaron Rodgers. And damn it, you got Jordan Love. He's just killing it. If you guys got a third Hall of Fame quarterback in a row, all of us other NFL fans are going to be like, it's not fair. Stop it. We hate you. But, Jordan Love has been impressive last year. I could not believe how strong he came out of the gate. This year, he's coming out strong again. But Green Bay has that lineage of, being the first Super Bowl winner, first back-to-back. Hell, the trophy is named after your former coach, the Lombardi Trophy. It can't get any more historical than that. They also have a Minnesota trophy. It's called the Garbage Can. That's a little cheap shot at our, friends to the west in Minnesota. Yes, folks, I'm wearing Raven colors, just so you know. I had to give a huge shout out to my buddy Randall, who's a Viking fan. But let's jump into your favorite players there for the Green Bay Packers. Take it away there, sir.
Absolutely. Well, first off, as you see on the graphic there, Brett Favre, pre-retirement. We won't talk about his post-retirement activities, of course, but he was just amazing. The gunslinger, the way he could throw balls into the smallest little spots and get them in there. Yeah, sometimes he was hit or miss, but my God, was he good when he was good. Jordy Nelson, I was always a huge fan of him. I feel like I coined the phrase "White Lightning" for him, the nickname, but apparently, somebody else might have said maybe Matthews or something. But I think I said it first. He was the best guy that Rodgers had at the early part of his career. And then, of course, he had Greg Jennings, and they had just amazing receiving core. I sorely miss him after he retired. Reggie, oh my God, Reggie. Well, I mean, he was the first big time free agent that got picked up, and he was amazing. I played defense myself. When I played football, I always tried to do his club maneuver or whatever they call that. I don't know if I ever quite got as good at it as he was. Obviously, I never made the NFL. But he was just such a great defender. I remember watching him running back. I think it was a interception he had, and having to take oxygen and stuff. Such an iconic moment as a Packer fan. And, of course, he helped the Packers get to that Super Bowl, that first one in my life. Young love with that. And then Rodgers. Rodgers might be the most talented quarterback in the history of the NFL. He didn't get as many Super Bowls as he probably should have. Lots of reasons why, but he could sling it. He's still slinging it. And I think he had a good day with the Jets today. But man, he's amazing, and he's 2 of 3, possibly 3 in a row, right? As you said, them drafting quarterbacks before they really need them and giving them time to develop. Every time they've taken that quarterback, I'm like, why are you doing that? You have Favre or you have Rodgers. You could have taken a receiver or something, but foresight seems to play out pretty well. They've so far the proof's in the pudding.
Right. Yeah, and not only the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Future Hall of Famer as well. You've got
Starr. Nobody believes Bart Starr.
Bart Starr.
You mentioned quarterbacks. I will point out the Packers have more championships than any other team. More NFL championships. Now, granted, it wasn't always the Super Bowl,
Right.
but they are the best team in the history of the NFL overall.
Yeah, and a little fun fact for people playing at home is I guess I'm going to say they actually played in Chippewa Falls, where we, I currently reside, where you currently, or I used to live where you live now. So that's kind of a cool, I don't know what I'm doing. I got the podcast. Sorry, JD. But yeah, so that's pretty cool how Wisconsin football has always been a powerhouse. You mentioned Jordy Nelson. Now, I got to touch on this. You've had Greg Jennings. You've had Javon Walker. You've had Devontae Adams, Antonio Freeman, Bill Schroeder. Those guys produced under these quarterbacks and have went to other teams and haven't been successful is because they had great quarterbacks. I mean, we're going to start seeing it now with Jordan Love and Christian Watson. Reed, I think, is the other guy's name, correct? I can't remember his first name. Yeah, I mean,
they have an amazing young receiving core right now.
Yeah.
I think that's going to help them get where they want to be. Today, I mean, we just watched them run all up and down in Indianapolis. So they got quite the run game, even after another one of my favorites, Aaron Jones, left, but we still got Josh Jacobs now, so he's looking good. It's looking like it's going to be a good year for them. Even with Love out with his MCL thing, they were able to get that win today. And hopefully they can continue to do that as long as Love might be out. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, pretty good. I don't know if you know this, but I've met a couple of the Packers.
Great segue. Let's cut you off there real quick. Your favorite iconic moments through your life or in Packer history. What are some of those, Joe?
Sure.
Kind of beat me to the punch there.
I used to work at a TV store in Appleton, and I turned around one day and looked, and standing at our front entrance was some big, tall, kind of goofy-ish looking from afar guy. Came driving up in a Chevy, like, beat up truck. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Talking really, like, laid back and stuff. Turns out this guy, Aaron Rodgers. This was the year before he got the starting job. It was Favre's last year. He was really cool to talk to. I talked to him for a little bit. I've
always carry Sharpie, folks.
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect him to walk in. I should have. The Packers got really good deals through our store because we were so close to Green Bay. So I sold a TV to a Packer player named Corey Taylor way back in the day. So overall, a lot of cool stuff there. I've never been to a regular season game. I'm too cheap to pay for those sorts of tickets. Go to a preseason game. Watched Favre for a drive or two. Watched. I want to say it was Doug Peterson, then play the rest of the preseason game. It was against the Panthers. It was forever ago. It was good, though. It was cool to be in Lambeau. It's such a unique environment. You got the bleachers and everything. You're not on those stadium seats that are too small for some Wisconsin-type people. So overall, pretty cool stuff there. And then, watching that first Super Bowl, that's when I first got into football. I just got into football that year. Watching the Packers do that was awesome. The next year broke my heart. I remember crying after the game saying, why would you even make the Super Bowl if you're just going to lose? It was the first time they ever lost one.
Mm-hmm.
It was just crazy. That hurt. And then just thinking about overtime against the Broncos. It was Favre versus Jay Cutler. Mm-hmm. And it was the very first play of overtime, and Favre just whips this ball out there. And I want to say it was Greg Jennings might have caught that ball, ran it all the way into the house on the first play of overtime. That was the game. So I remember that. I remember, Rodgers
Freeman's catch. That was iconic in that overtime game.
I remember that because I remember being so angry because it looked like the Packers were going to lose that game, and then he catches that after it comes off his back. That was awesome.
Yeah, everybody talked about that for weeks. I remember my dad was like, "Oh, they're playing that catch again. Look at that!" So.
It's lucky, but the fact that he kept with it, caught the ball,
and scored to win that game. So
crazy. The field awareness, that was the best thing about it. I mean, Freeman was a great receiver. He wasn't the fastest guy.
Yep,
but he could catch the ball. I mean, I've seen his hands. You ever see those Favre rocket balls?
Mm-hmm.
Just gnarled catching that stuff. I
Snapping
remember
fingers
watching.
and yep.
Oh, absolutely. I remember watching Rogers' crazy Hail Mary passes and stuff that he did.
One of the
I
best to
remember
do it.
that
Yep.
one against the Lions when he threw it to Richard Rodgers. I remember thinking, "Oh my God, they're going to lose this game." Then they catch that ball. I ran around screaming around my house. It was a late game. I went down. I woke up my wife. I woke up my son. It was a play that I'll always remember seeing, always remember reacting to.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just great to see. And then now Jordan Love out there, he didn't have the greatest first half last year. Now they were very close in a lot of those games.
I
And
mean, it's his
then
first time getting out there. You got to give him a chance. Yep.
and you have a quarterback that's growing, plus a receiving group that's growing. They got two good tight ends in Kraft and Musgrave. They've got all those awesome receivers. They got a great running game. Their defense finally looks like it's ready to play too. So I mean, if Love can come back healthy here soon and continue this, I mean, I know we're not to that point yet, but I'm ready for my prediction whenever you're ready.
All right. What's that prediction? Then we'll wrap this up, and then we'll get about our day.
I'm going to say I'm predicting at least the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
And if they win, then I think they win the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's pretty bold, pretty bold. And real quick, folks, again, Mayhem Media wants to know what your favorite team is. So if you want to come on an episode just like Joe and talk about your favorite team, we would love to have you. And then before I kick you out of here, Joe, you mentioned how Reggie White was your inspiration. For me, it was Gilbert Brown doing the Gravedigger. I remember Coach Bob yelling at me and Coach Duffy screaming, "You ain't in the NFL, kid. Stop that shit." And then last but not least, with Green Bay, getting to meet some of the players. Obviously, we're in that home state of Wisconsin. I got to meet Tony Fisher. Got to see the legendary Rondé. And I know he didn't play for the Packers, but we're talking Wisconsin football, as well as Monte Ball. Great running backs coming out of the state of Wisconsin college football there. So
Jonathan Taylor today had a good day with Indianapolis.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
that
So
the Packers are always, or not the Packers, but the Badgers are known for their linemen.
Yep.
Their running backs,
Joe Thomas,
most of their running backs are really good because of their
Wisconsin football, baby. But
so many great ones.
All right, folks, that is our episode, including Joe Schaefer here for the Redzone Round Up of the Green Bay Packers. It's your boy, CranderQ. CranderQ out.